Welcome to this comprehensive explainer for We Love Pets. Today, we're rigorously examining the reality of small animal adoption, guiding you through the process of finding the perfect tiny companion. We're setting aside the myths to give you the unvarnished truth about what these fascinating creatures genuinely need to thrive in your home.
When you picture an animal shelter, you probably expect rows of barking dogs and meowing cats. But I'd encourage you to look just a little bit closer. There's a massive, hidden, and overflowing world of ferrets, rabbits, guinea pigs, and hamsters, all desperately waiting for a second chance. It's time we completely discard the assumption that shelters are strictly for larger pets.
This explainer will serve as your definitive readiness assessment. We'll be covering the starter pet myth, kids and fragile pets, ferrets and rats, rabbits and guinea pigs, and finally, exotics and responsible adoption.
Part 1. The Starter Pet Myth. Let's reevaluate this misconception of the easy pet. We have to start by entirely dismantling the dangerous idea that a smaller size somehow equates to a smaller responsibility. Yes, small animals are undeniably endearing, but they aren't just low-maintenance alternatives to a dog or cat. What's truly fascinating is that these creatures possess incredibly complex biological clocks. Many of them are naturally nocturnal, so while your entire house is fast asleep, they're biologically driven to wake up, forage for food, run on squeaky wheels, and actively rearrange their habitats. To put that into perspective, a hamster can run the equivalent of a human half-marathon on their wheel every single night while you're trying to sleep.
And to the surprise of many prospective owners, caring for a small animal is a formidable, long-term commitment. This isn't just a temporary phase. A well-cared-for rabbit can live well over 10 years, and some exotic small pets push 20. That is a significant, long-term chapter of your life.
Because they live entirely within enclosures, the margin for error in their care is essentially zero. Dehydration and starvation can happen incredibly fast in these small bodies. Because of this, they demand relentless daily care. You need to be prepared for fastidious environmental cleaning to prevent disease, a constant, uninterrupted supply of daily fresh water, highly species-specific nutrition, and specialized veterinary care. And make no mistake, this exotic vet care is just as necessary and often just as expensive as taking a dog or cat to the clinic. Moving to Part 2, Kids and Fragile Pets. We need to confront the delicate reality of mixing children and small animals. This brings us to a critical and honestly often uncomfortable truth regarding the time-honored tradition of buying a child a hamster or a guinea pig to teach them responsibility. From a strict animal welfare perspective, small pets are rarely the appropriate default pet for young children. The uncomfortable truth is that any pet in a household is fundamentally the responsibility of the adult. While older children can absolutely learn empathy and help out with feeding, the adult must act as the ultimate vigilant caretaker, ensuring safety at all times. There's a dangerous mismatch between a child's natural handling style and a delicate, instinctual prey animal. A child inadvertently dropping a startled rabbit can easily cause fatal skeletal injuries. Squeezing a hamster too tightly leads to severe internal damage. And if these animals feel cornered or startled, their absolute natural instinct is to bite or scratch defensively. This dynamic instantly ruins the experience for both the pet and the child. Now, let's explore Part 3, Ferrets and Rats. These are highly intelligent and incredibly high-energy companions. If you're an adult capable of providing significant, focused interaction, ferrets present a brilliant, albeit demanding, option. These are high-energy animals, intensely curious about absolutely everything in their environment. Ferrets are not cage-bound decorations. Because of their immense curiosity, they will absolutely find their way into your furniture, crawl spaces, and walls if they aren't strictly supervised. They're also notorious hoarders, so fully expect to find your missing keys and socks stashed under the sofa. Supporting a ferret requires strict adherence to some mandatory requirements. You're looking at up to 10 years of a lifespan commitment. They require hours of supervised out-of-cage playtime daily just to burn off energy. They also need a strict, premium carnivore diet, and mandatory spaying or neutering is absolutely essential to prevent life-threatening health issues down the road. Conversely, rats offer an entirely different yet equally fascinating dynamic. They are arguably the most intelligent and sociable of all small mammals. Rats form an incredible bond with their human caretakers. They actually possess the intellect to be hand-tamed, they can be taught complex tricks, and they genuinely crave human interaction, often behaving much more like tiny dogs than typical rodents. But this intense sociability comes with critical care needs.
They must be housed in same-sex pairs to prevent severe depression. Additionally, they have incredibly delicate respiratory systems. This means glass tank enclosures are completely unacceptable due to poor ventilation, and you must never use phenol-heavy pine or cedar wood shavings. They might smell fresh to us, but they can trigger fatal respiratory diseases in rats.
Moving on to Part 4, Rabbits and Guinea Pigs. Let's build our understanding of these gentle foragers.
For adults seeking more docile, communicative companions, rabbits are incredibly popular, yet fundamentally misunderstood. Despite their cuddly appearance, the reality is that rabbits are quintessential prey animals. They instinctually prefer to keep their feet on solid ground, which means they do not naturally enjoy being held or carried around. Furthermore, they require immense exercise space, highly specialized diets, and an immediate spay or neuter to prevent severe behavioral issues and incredibly high rates of reproductive cancers. Then we have guinea pigs, also known as cavies. The most crucial point to understand about their biology is their vitamin C dependency. This is a biological limitation where they simply cannot synthesize their own vitamin C. Because of this, a lack of vitamin C will quickly lead to scurvy, just like 18th century sailors. This makes strict dietary supplementation with fresh vegetables an absolute life or death care requirement.
Here are the core essentials for guinea pigs. They're highly communicative. They'll actively squeak, grunt, and purr, often letting out a loud "week" the second they hear your refrigerator door open. They're herd animals that thrive in same-sex groups or harems. As for their environment, they must be housed in large, solid-bottom cages. You must never use wire flooring as it leads to devastating and severe foot injuries over time.
Finally, let's explore Part 5, Exotics and Responsible Adoption, where we focus on making the final ethical choice. We have to carefully examine the demanding care required for exotic critters. Chinchillas boast incredibly dense soft coats, but they require strict dust baths, absolutely no water, and a perfectly serene environment, which is crucial considering they can live up to 20 years. Hedgehogs, by contrast, are solitary and spiny creatures. They are notorious escape artists that strictly require highly secure, impenetrable enclosures to keep them safe. Regardless of the species you choose, the ethical pipeline for acquiring your new pet is paramount. Step 1. Completely avoid retail pet stores. Step 2. Utilize specialized rescues. Countless animals are surrendered by overwhelmed owners. Search for organizations like the House Rabbit Society, the American Ferret Association, or Pet Finder. And Step 3. A very important warning for homeowners. Never attempt to rescue wild baby bunnies from your yard. Their mothers only visit them briefly at night to avoid drawing predators. Always leave them alone.
Which brings us to our final, provocative question. Are you truly ready to transform a tiny life? Adopting a small animal is a deeply rewarding experience when approached with the right education, preparation, and profound respect for their unique needs. If you're ready to save a life, subscribe to We Love Pets for more expert, documentary-style care guides. And always remember to adopt, not shop. Before you bring a tiny pet home, ask yourself, are you adopting them to entertain you, or are you adopting them to give them the life they deserve?